Whoa.
Alright, recording's live. Welcome everyone to Cascade. Cascade is a nice, neat little Koth map that is fun for every single class except the medic. Let me repeat that. If you're playing any class, you're going to find that you have plenty to do. You have a lot of fun things that you can approach and kind of do. If you're playing medic, you're going to die a lot. I feel sorry for you. That's just kind of Cascade. Every class gets to do stuff, and because of that, medic gets shafted. So, you can see that sniper sightlines are pretty good. The only thing is most of the good sniper sightlines when you're attacking are kind of isolated from your from your team. So you're going to notice that snipers often tend not to play pretty close to combo compared to a lot of other maps. So that's something you can think about exploiting in particular, especially just have your spy just constantly go hound that sniper and make him play on less good sightlines. So that's just how we'll start that off. So, let's start off. Let's talk about the mid fight. Now, whoever's putting that out in the lecture discussion, he doesn't do British. He's a British. You could hear it in his voice earlier. All right, so mid fights. Mid fights are pretty much standard. You guys are going to want to come straight out through main. Just roll straight out through the center and then come through the left side here. This is the fastest way. Pick up a pack. If you're a demo man, let me just do the rollout real quick. It's literally just jump here, one little hop, and then this is what I recommend you do. Hop over to this pack and then walk the rest of the way. And that's going to be your neat, easy way to roll out. You won't arrive with too little health. You'll come timely, and it's all well and good. And every other class, you're just going to get whipped there. And this is where you split off. So combo is just generally going to take the straight fight. There's not too much difference here. It is basically product on top of the mid fight. You're going to trade a lot of spam right here. You're going to, you know, just chase after kills, try to knock them down to low health, and then make them sit behind a rock, and then aggress off that damage. So it's pretty much product in that one sense. The thing where it really differs is the fact that snipers don't hard play with their combo, like I mentioned at the start. Your sniper can just sit on top of bats here and kind of lock this entire thing down. Your flank doesn't need to go to the connector where they just stare at each other and, you know, jack off because they're like, what do? We can't push the connector. Where on Cascade, there is no connector. These flanks are opposite each other. So you have choices of flank. One thing you can do is to come over to caves here. This is mostly for the soldier, who can come up here and just play high ground and spam from this position. This is nice, really easy. It's like if you were here for the actual review when I talked about that a few weeks ago. It's basically like that. You just show up and you play this fairly passively and you just wait until you see the right opportunity. You just keep spamming, shooting things, and then once you see there's a shit ton of damage, your demo's called some really nasty stuff, then you go in. You can roll out here with your scout if you want to take that fight too. That's all well and good, but yeah, that's kind of a simple, easy wait-and-see approach. The other highly aggressive approach is to go with your heavy. So this is a soldier heavy going under. This is the submarine play. You guys are kind of going to come underneath, and you're just going to get really aggressive straight through down here. So the key of this is if you get your heavy all the way through under and you push up against this ramp, this heavy can shred anything standing close in this shield over here. So this is really strong aggressive play for heavy to get up here. Take note, this is also a quite a strategy that you can use all throughout the game, not just in the mid fights. You can kind of have your heavy play pretty far up, even on defense. Like you guys hold the point, you just need to wait here until they get too aggressive, and then you have a heavy peek up here and just shred them. So that's a good strat. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, flank, essentially you have two choices. You either go through cave and you have your soldiers sit up there and spam, or you have your soldier come with your heavy together and you both go under and you try to push this. So that's your basic two ways of approaching. As for scout, you are basically going to be playing like product again. You're just going to need to wait for your demo to shoot the mini and keep it down. The one thing I would say is you want to communicate a lot more with your team in terms of pushing, because you can get a lot more done once that mini's down than you could on product. You could just kind of jump around. There's great terrain over here for you to take fights and duck and weave and do all your fancy stuff. So you can, you know, you can even just slowly edge this, and that helps put a lot of pressure in. One good thing about this too is if you can handle the movement and you're kind of smooth about it, you practice a little bit, you can actually jump from your own shield up into their caves and play this hyper aggressive. This is just kind of a you know, a nuclear option, I'd say. If you don't feel like you can get anything done on point, you just want to go behind them, this is definitely a play that you can do. Also, playing under with your soldier and heavy is another viable option. Just come over here. So apart from the flanks that I mentioned, which is just, you know, soldier and scout either splitting off playing the point or, you know, going under their cave, whatever, the rest of this is pretty much basic combo stuff. You're not really going to be expecting to do too much unusual. The one thing you should expect to pay attention mostly to is your heavy's positioning. So your heavy, when he shows up to this mid, generally your heavy is going to want to focus on one side of the point. The worst thing a heavy can do is just sit right in the middle where he has to watch both sides, and he's open to eating a shit ton of spam, and just like you sit right here and you're like, oh, I'm gonna control everything. And what happens, you eat like shots from here, you eat shots from there, and you eat shots from here, and then they're also shooting from cave, and you just can't keep that all in view at once. So you're gonna want to pick a side as a heavy early, and you're gonna want to be able to try to commit to that. Most heavies try to sit closer over this way. The idea, the principle applies as well when you're actually pushing across point. I like hugging a wall and then walking forward as a heavy like this, and it just allows you to kind of keep the entire point in view without needing to, you know, shoot left and right and pay attention to everything. So just hug a wall when you're pushing. Pick a side, see what your combo's doing, and, you know, try to focus that down. So that's the basics of it. I don't feel like I'm on fucking Market Gardener. I don't feel like there's too much to go for as far as little tactics goes. The mid-fight is really straightforward. Unlike Ashford, where, you know, you can have people split off one way or another and do a lot of weird, wacky shit. It's Cascade. You show up to mid and you just need to hit the damage for the most part. Apart from the soldier that can go play under versus cave, that's pretty much the only big gimmick. I would say the one gimmick that I like using that you know, word to the wise, I've never seen any other soldier player in Invite actually use this, so this is basically just my little gimmick, is if I'm rolling out through left with my combo, I might choose a hyper-aggressive bomb that just pogos directly across point like this. And it just gets me directly into their combo. It's a nice way to kind of take them by surprise. Again, disclaimer, it's a hell of a gimmick. You arrive there super fast, and you're taking it super low, so, you know, it arrives by surprise, but you pretty much die instantly the moment you arrive, unless you, like, hit their garage or something. But apart from that, there are some other things people try. They try to jump off the walls here, but these are, again, kind of not easy to set up. I would say my recommendation for most mid-fights is to come over through caves here and just play spam, and just wait it down. It's kind of an easy, no-fuss way to approach that. Let's talk about sniper sight lines real quick. So, like I said, again, just to reinforce, snipers do have fantastic fucking sight lines when you're not playing with combo, and that's kind of one of the nice things about Cascade, is you get a trade-off as a sniper. You can either control the entire map from this position, but you have no protection, or you can go play with your combo and be a little protected, but you just watch one thing at a time. It's a little bit of a trade-off. So, let me just run you through a few sight lines that you can run through on the mid-fight, and then you can kind of adapt these to when you're holding or pushing or whatever. So, obviously, the first straightforward one is on bats. Just right here, you just control the entire damn thing. Play on the left side over here, hug this. This is just like playing directly above Japan on product. You get a slightly shorter sight line, but you also get the element of surprise. Bottom of garage here, or basement, under, whatever you want to call it. I call it garage. This is kind of just to deny point pressure, because you don't see into their team. You don't get to, like, cut them off when they're spamming, but you do get to cut them off and shoot them when they're actually pushing a point and trying to aggress. So this is kind of a nice way to cut that off and control that one sight line. Up here on bridge, this is another common one. It gets you more of a view into the right-hand side, as opposed to kind of in the open where everyone sees you and you get called out instantly. There's a little more hidden. You kind of get one or two cheap shots in before they call you out. Also, bridge to bridge is a thing, so make sure you're checking out for that. Another thing a lot of people do is they'll rotate through caves, and they'll, like, hard scope here, and they'll very slowly peek one thing at a time, and then eventually take this shot through caves. So, finally, you can also do it product style and literally just sit with your combo and then hard scope like this. This is probably the most common thing Invite snipers do, I would say, is they just show up here. And, you know, if anyone's ever attended demo reviews, just sit. As a sniper, you just sit next to your combo. It's nuts. It's crazy. You're incredible. But yeah, you can come over here. The sight lines are tighter, but if you know exactly where they're positioned and you know how you want to lock this down, this is a pretty good way to play this. You just sit next to your combo, watch one side, watch the other, you know, play the far left side over here where people can kind of keep an eye on you, and then just hard scope. This is a pretty good way to approach it. Alright, I feel like I covered most of the important details on mid-fights. Any questions before we move on? Forward holds and spy paths. Holds will be in the next section. Spy paths, I mean, they go invisible. They can go anywhere. I rarely talk about spy in my map reviews because they will literally do whatever they need to do to get places. So you can't really predict them. You can try to just generally flame the area as a pyro if that's what you're interested in. But I would say if it were up to me, if I were to point some things out, check the far sides of the point. Again, just either far side And then, oh, minis, you're right, I didn't talk about NG, I have to go over that. So you just check the far side, or just flame the cave a bit, because that's another common one for spies to do. They jump out of their own cave and they jump behind you. Apart from that, just, you know, check your garage, they decloak here, check behind all these different props that they'll decloak. Most commonly, though, they literally just decloak in the open when you're distracted, and that's kind of the most successful thing for them to do. Also here, this is kind of funny. It's not, like, amazing, but they'll do it. Alright. NG. So there's a lot of different things people have been trying on Cascade for NGs and how they do it. There is pretty much only one thing that works, and it is exactly like Product as far as how they approach it. You literally just put a mini pretty far back, and you just have it hyper passive so that you can bait them in, and that's like the one thing they do. You will occasionally see some NGs give them the slip and do something a little different, and they'll come up here to drop a mini up high ground. This doesn't really work because, you know, it's easy to spam out. A demo can sit behind, outside of the mini's detection radius, and just one sticky it or one pipe it, and it just goes down from this position. It's really difficult to keep it up for very long. So if you're playing it up there, you probably want to wrangle it permanently, and even then, it only watches point, and it doesn't really deny people that are trying to push directly across, like, underneath your mini. It doesn't do much, so... it's a little more gimmicky. It has its uses, but by and large, you're going to see that most people kind of just recommend kind of far back here. Fairly passive. Any more questions? You ask your questions in voice. Everyone's muted. No dispensers in mid-fights. No dispensers in mid-fights. It's a waste of your time. You're taking time away from fighting.
So you wait to set that up?
Yeah, you wait until the mid-fight is over. Either you've won or lost, but do not put it in the middle of the mid-fight, ever. You could be using that time to take a fight, kill someone, and then actually win.
So, let's say you win the mid-fight, then what would you do on Engineer?
Then you set up your dispenser, depending on where your team wants to hold, and then you go do engineer things. Go get your teleporter up, I don't know.
So placement is basically just around the team?
Pretty much. I'll cover a few different holds right after this that, you know, you can kind of pay attention to, but it is pretty much just show up, and mid-fight-wise, you are a combat class. Don't think about setting up too much. Don't worry about your telly. If your team dies, they're probably dead for the rest of the mid-fight anyway, and you know, it'll be over, so fuck the telly. Don't worry about the dispenser. The mid-fight's going to happen too quickly for the dispenser to matter, and plus you're baiting your flank. Literally just drop a mini and go take fights as an NG.
Alright.
I've been told to aim towards the post and the opposite flank's cave as soldier. Is that viable?
You mean, like, go there?
No, like aim rockets at the post in their side cave from your cave to try to deny that flank option.
Sure, why not? I mean, you could also bomb their combo and do a lot of... Like, it's just an option that you have to, like, play your flank denies their flank. That's one way to do it. It's not wrong. It's definitely an approach. I tend to steer people away from those because I think it's kind of lazy product brain. We sit on opposite ends of connector and we spam connector without ever actually pushing it. 2 weeks ago, I made my disdain for product very clear. I think it teaches people a lot of bad habits in Koth. And flank-wise, this is one of those things. You actually have options. You can actually get aggressive. You don't need to sit there and deny the enemy flank. So you can take the initiative instead of just sitting around. And I recommend you try doing that.
Speaking to Pyro, one of my two things is looking after medic. The other one is looking after engineer on this map.
No, your engineer takes care of himself. And in fact, your engineer does more helping spy check as well. Sit around your medic, but more so if your team is disciplined enough, sit around your sniper, because snipers. It's snipers.
Okay, alright, cheers.
So regarding heavy, you mentioned most of the you mentioned that heavy could be on either side of the rock at the beginning of the mid fight. Is there any? I guess is it more beneficial to be on the left rock, or is there with that opening there? Is it if you're is there any benefit for the heavy dropping down if they're losing the mid fight?
Dropping down, like you play here when you're losing?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna sit here and you're maybe gonna get one cheap kill and then you're gonna die and your team's not gonna have a heavy. And I don't know, it's not worth the trade. in my opinion.
Okay.
That said, if you want to play this side, you can watch under so that they don't push through. They don't push through it, but I would pretty much say it's literally just make sure someone's watching it. Someone asked earlier in the lecture discussion, what about having it also watch lower? That is an idea, but you don't necessarily need to have it actually look into lower. Again, that just means it's too easy to shoot. You just have it watch the entrance so that people can't peek upwards. Like right here is when they start dealing with the minion, they're like, oh, that's too close already. And they're just going to start taking too much damage. So, yeah, you can have someone or something kind of close and watching it. Heavy, NG, Pyro can be sitting on top of it too, whatever. Just as long as you know that they're not doing the stupid soldier heavy straight through under submarine play. Alright, more questions. We can hurry this one up, so I want to move on to forward holds and just holds in general and how to hold it.
So, going back to engineer just for a moment here, would you personally recommend that the teleporter exit be closer towards mid for the power classes, or somewhere between that and the flank so everyone can take it?
You're going to have to discuss that with your team. Different players and different teams like different setups. I can run through a few and see if it gives you any ideas, but for the most part it is literally just you show up here, you put a dispenser at the top of lobby here, that's one. You put it in garage over here, just have it in the corner, that's another one. You put it over on concrete so that they come out through concrete. This one's pretty much a safe passive choice. Most people don't really fret too much about that. You can also put it underneath the ramp over here. This is a very common one as well, just right here. And all of these are perfectly valid options. Don't put it upper, this is kind of unsafe, but yeah. All these are perfectly valid options. It is literally just what your team prefers because, you know, they might like the flexibility of having it right in the middle. They might like to just be able to pop out of the teleport and be like, oh, we're here. We know what we're doing. So just figure it out with your team what they want.
You've mentioned concrete, ramp, cave, under. I mean, are there any other call-outs we should know?
Oh yeah, this is kind of the one thing that isn't standard that I use. I always call this concrete, even though it, you know, you can consider it a concrete ramp, because this is the only part of the map that's like has floor that's definitively concrete. So this is unarguable. Like if someone hears you call concrete, they know what concrete is. It's always this. It's clear. As for a ramp, it's literally because I haven't found a better call for this. There are a couple different ramps, but this is the steeper ramp, and this is the more notable one. So I call this one ramp. Again,
There's also forklift on concrete. Sometimes
yeah.
On the... Have you covered sniper angles yet?
I did, but forklift snipers aren't really a big deal on mid-fights. They're just kind of limiting their own angles. That's more of a repush thing, and even then, you know.
Where is forklift?
Right there. That's a forklift right there. So you sit right here at the top. I'm obviously... Damn it, not this side. Right here on top of the forklift, and then you just barely see above this fence, and you get a tiny bit of... Like you can see heads of people standing on or around point.
What's the sort of the main shack area, the area we're in at the moment? What's that called?
House, lobby, shack is fine too. Anything that denotes an indoor place is fine because, you know, this is the only one that's relevant.
All right, cheers.
Oh, this is drop down, and I extend the drop down call to mean the area that you drop down through as well. So that's kind of what I do it. And this is yard. You can also just call it left or right depending on which way you're seeing. People do that perfectly fine. Garage. This is shield. Our shield, their shield. It's a little shield. And then this one has no call. It's literally just left right. So it's kind of boring, but it is what it is. Okay. Yeah, I'll take one more question about the mid-fight if anyone still has one. I want to move on to defense real quick.
I have a question.
Alright.
If the sniper takes bats, is there a quick way for, like, Pyro to get to spy check there, or should he just stay with the combo and flame left and right of point?
You should not go play with your sniper at that point. The only thing you really can do is kind of just sit at the bottom and try to call out in case you see a spy coming. But generally speaking, even if you rotate out there, it's not just that the spy can come for your combo. It's now that the soldier can bomb for your medic too. And it's just, you know, you being there is too important. So, you know, let your sniper die if he wants to play up there, or no one comes for him and he gets 5 kills. Doesn't really matter. The point is you can't really help him if he's up there, and he needs to know that. If he's playing up on bats, he needs to know that he's not going to have team support. So that means he either doesn't stay hard scope for forever, or he just comes here, takes 2 shots, and he's like, okay, I'm done with this here, and he comes down, drops, and plays close. So essentially,
Okay.
your sniper needs to know that that's a risk.
Thank you.
Alright. So, let's move on to defense. So, you've won the mid-fight, you've taken the point, let's talk about forward holds. There is basically one kind of forward hold here. It's just split up into two different ways you can approach it, but it is essentially the same forward hold. It's directly on point. You're going to want everyone pretty far up. So, here's how it basically works. You're going to have your, I'm going to put a dispenser down to show you where everyone orbits around. So, you get your dispenser. There you go. There's the dispenser now. Congrats. So, everyone gets on point. So, you can approach this either from the left side or the right side. So, if you're holding left side, what you need to know that means is that your sniper is going to be left side. And it's important for me to point this out. Your forward hold depends on your sniper. If your sniper is dead, you do not forward hold. End of story. But your forward hold, if you have your sniper, left or right side calls where your sniper plays. And that means it determines what he's watching. And, you know, so left side is kind of, he watches towards yard, he gets a little bit of sightline to garage, it's pretty nice, it's pretty cool. You have him on right side, and that means he's watching into connector instead, and he's locking this side down. And that's pretty much all there is to it. You pick one side, you watch, you have him watch the other, and then the rest of your combos kind of detail that. So, alright, pretend this gun is our sniper. I'm literally just gonna drop him right here. So, our sniper's there, he's going straight into concrete, he's happy. Your demo is going to be playing directly on point here, and your demo is responsible for the other side. So now that your sniper, you know for a fact he's locking concrete down, you are going to be sticking up into yard and watching garage, and make sure they don't get to push here for free. Also, you can kind of see kind of deep in. Yeah?
Can I interject? You're currently playing as a red engineer looking towards the red base.
Yeah, ignore that.
Okay,
or don't ignore that, and let's look into blue. It doesn't matter.
There wasn't getting any lighter.
You get the idea anyway. So yeah, you're just gonna have your sniper over here. Your demo's on point. And you're gonna be, your heavy should be sitting on top of this rock, kind of about here, and you're just gonna want to spy check for your team partially because you can just turn around, and you want to pay attention mostly to cave because that's kind of the big deal. Otherwise, it's literally just sit on your sniper, make sure your spy doesn't just decloak on top of him and kill him, because you're sitting right here, you just get to watch him and just make sure nothing happens, and that's it. As long as your sniper doesn't die to a spy, the only other thing he can die to is the enemy sniper. So, again, recap, sniper there, demo on point watching the other side, heavy just sit here, watch your sniper, pyro you're just going to watch people in general, and then that's the combo placement. I'll talk about flank in a second. Later, let's go over the other side of point. So the other side is kind of a bit more meta, I'd say. It's more standard. So if you want to approach either side, I would say probably want to pick that. It's literally the exact same thing, except mirrored. There's probably only one major difference that you should pay attention to. So you have your sniper here. He's watching into yard. He also has a bit of an angle into garage. Demo, again, on point. Except he watches concrete this time. Sticky that up, sticky up the drop down, make sure they don't come from that side. Your heavy is going to be nudged up against the shield over here. The nice thing about this is you get this entire shield as cover, so you can't get hit by shit, but what's nice about this is you also get to see through it, so you have info. As a defending heavy sitting on top of this, you get to see what's going on, you get to look over to the left and know that nothing's pushing, you get to know that it's safe for sure. And again, same thing, just watch this, make sure nothing gets on top of your sniper, all this stuff, pretty cool. Medic and pyro, you're just going to be sitting over here, pretty standard stuff. Alright, and as for your flank, in both cases, your flank should be aggressive in their cave. So you get up in here, and you just sit over here, and you fight from this position. It's important you call this out, and you know that this is happening, because one thing that can really fuck up your forward hold is if they rotate either a soldier or a sniper up here, and they just shoot you on point. So it doesn't matter which side you're holding on, this caves thing is going to really fuck you up. So that's why you need a flank at least contesting this, and, you know, ideally also playing kind of a little further forward, controlling and calming from this position. Make sure you don't let them come through cave here. If you're putting a sniper against this wall, a soldier walks up, 2 rockets your sniper's dead. If your sniper is playing on that side instead, they have their sniper come up here, hard scope, and then you guys are done. And, you know, your heavy can die too. So all this shit is dependent essentially on you guys holding cave. So on this forward hold, your flank holds their cave. That's it. End of story. Alright, so someone asked about medic placement real quick. In mid-fights, attack and defense, so again, we'll go over that. We'll go over attacking later. But mid-fights, it's literally just hug a rock. I actually like playing out in the center as a medic, as long as I know they don't have a sniper on bats. Like, as long as you get the call that that's safe, and same thing with cave. There's no sniper in cave. You know where their sniper is. I actually like playing right on the open, precisely because this is the easiest way for you to duck and weave and dodge, and if something comes bombing for you, you can actually see it, and you can jump and surf away. Otherwise, you're playing in a tiny-ass corner right here. You can't really see much, even though you're not going to take a bunch of spam. The moment something drops down, the moment something chases after you, you have nowhere to go. You can't actually leave because you're stuck here. So this is kind of why, you know, you can sit here if it's generally pretty safe and you don't have expectations that you're going to get pushed anytime soon, but I recommend if you're not really too sure what's going on, kind of playing a little more loosely at the back here so you're ready to duck out if you have to. Same principle applies over on the other side. You can either hug it or you can play a little further back and ready to kite as soon as you need to. Just pick one or the other. On the forward holds with your team, it's literally just play whichever side your sniper's playing and then take cover. And just do that. So, you know, just sit here, heal your sniper. Some medics like playing pretty far back here, and they'll play like on the backup point and heal from this position. And then you have your pyro sit on your medic while your heavy sits on your sniper. And then, you know, each one of you is responsible for the other. Same thing, you can either just sit, nudge up against this shield because you feel really comfortable, or you can play towards the back and just kind of use this as cover from everything while still healing people forward. Your choice, work that out with your team, whatever your team's more comfortable doing. Alright. That is pretty much the forward hold, so did anyone want to ask anything about the forward?
I was going to ask if we do win, and we have our soldier up in the tunnels, kind of watching whether or not they're putting anyone through, is it fine for maybe the scout to go and hide somewhere within their house and essentially wait for someone to start aggressing the soldier and run up behind them and pinch them?
Same issue in general with Scout as I've talked about many times before. You do not want to play alone as a Scout. It's just, you know, you're not a good solo player in Highlander. So just don't. That said, along that train of thought, I used to teach this forward hold and do this forward hold a little differently. I've changed that now, but so what I used to do is instead of having flank play in enemy cave, I used to have flank play in enemy lobby, an enemy house up in here, and they'd heckle from behind from this position. So Scout and Soldier would both play up here and play really aggressively and actually go for a lot of harassment, annoyance, and possibly kills, especially on a sniper if he happens to be trying to go over a bridge here, and you can just hunt him down and kill him. So this is still an option. It's not a bad option. It's just not, you know, it's not the ideal. But it is something you can try to do if you want to tell your soldier, hey, I want to go bot at those idiots. So you come over here, you play really aggressively in here, and then if they ever try to push you from any angle, they're all choke points, so they can't really push you that easily. It's just that means you also can't push out of here. It's just kind of a double-edged sword, that one respect. But yeah, that is an option. If you want to have both play in their house, it's pretty aggressive. About the forward hold, should NG be with the tunnel, with the scout and soldier? No, you should not. You should drop a mini on point, you should drop a dispenser, build that stuff up, and then you should, if you have nothing better to do because you've gone and done all your upgrading, you've got your telly up, you don't know what else to do, what my NG does, and what I believe more NG should do, is literally sit right behind their sniper and make fucking damn sure your sniper doesn't get backstabbed. Have I mentioned this is Highlander, and the only class that exists is the sniper? So that's kind of what I'd advocate. You literally just sit right behind him and never let him get stabbed. Alright, any more questions? I mean, it's kind of a moot point, because you're not, as an NG, you're probably not going to be able to get up there anyway, unless you wrangle jump, and that's just too much effort. No level 3s, ever. This is pretty simple, just no level 3s. No level 2 jokes, either. Alright, any more questions?
Is there a backward hold?
Yeah, you lose too many players, or your sniper in particular, and then you just back off, and you just play back. But I'll talk about that. More questions about the forward hold. No one? No one's got questions? Alright, actually, I want to... If no one's got questions, I want to talk about a couple things real quick that's like little tiny details about it. about playing forward. And again, it pretty much all revolves around sniper because this is Cascade. It's just the way the map's played. Here's a little tiny trick that my sniper discovered that's kind of stupid and mean. You just nudge up against this. You can stand on this side and then use this as a head glitch, as a sniper, and just barely peek onto concrete. This is great for taking SVSs, so you just barely peek up and then they're not going to be able to adjust their shot quite perfectly. But that's an option. If you don't want to sit next to your combo or you want a really aggressive wide angle to concrete, come over here, sit on top of their fence, and you just get the entire angle. Again, you need people that are kind of close by you to make sure you're not going to just die, but this is a really hyper-aggressive way to approach this, and it gets a lot of shots in. Finally, if you don't feel like playing forward with your combo, but your combo wants to do a forward-ish hold, you can also do this the long way, wrap around caves, and you get essentially the same sightline that you would if you're standing on point, just from caves. So that means you're probably not going to get called out instantly. You're just missing out again on combo protection. You can get hunted down by a spy or a flank that just happens to jump in for free for some goddamn reason. So same considerations as playing bats apply. If you want to go there, make sure that you know that you are not getting protected by your combo and you're looking out for yourself. That's about it. So if there aren't any more questions, we're going to move on to talking about the backwards hold. Backwards hold. You lose too many players, you traded Uber, your sniper's dead, any number of things. Anything that could make you want to back out and do kind of a more passive hold. If anyone asks me what those situations are, again, I have to reiterate, as many times as I've had in the past, that depends on the situation. Just generally check to see if you have too few players up. Alright, so for the most part, the only place you can hold, like properly hold, is kind of behind the shield. Some people have dabbled a bit with holding from behind the left side, but it is pretty much just here. So you drop a dispenser up in the shield, you just play from here, you have your sniper take heals. Generally, your sniper plays far right here, but again, same thing, if you know for a fact that you can take this SVS angle over here and just shoot directly across the point, this isn't too bad. But generally speaking, far right on your sniper, next to the shield, and this is kind of the ideal position. And you just have your demo sitting back here and spamming. You have your heavy kind of, again, just watching from this position, check for spies, have float around under, make sure they don't come through. You can also rotate and play the other side instead. Generally speaking, all you need to do is waste their time until they eventually get into a position where they could try to take like a mid-fight. So either they walk through and they're like, oh, the sniper's there. And then they either die to the sniper and they decide to fuck off and then, you know, hold success. And you don't need to bother about it. Or they see the snipers there, and then they just kind of dally for a little bit, and then they eventually get into their position. In which point, once they arrive either in shield, or they get into the forward positions just kind of behind the rocks in general, this is basically a mid-fight. You're looking to spam them out, you're looking to push across. If you get enough damage, you guys are in position, call your pushes, yada yada. Nothing too special about that. So it's literally just delay them from your passive hold until they get into their mid-fight position, then you have a mid-fight. So that's all there is to it. Are there any questions? You guys are quiet today.
What's the... Obviously, Sniper's the one class you don't want to lose on this map, but is there anyone else that you could afford to lose without feeling like you're being oppressed? Like, how many classes can you afford to lose before you've lost? I have to pull back.
Oh gosh, I just answered that. Really depends on the current state of the game. I can't give you a good answer. But sniper is one where you have to back off the forward clearly because the forward depends on your sniper. So if he's dead, there's no way it's happening. In general, just try not to lose more than 3 players. But again, that if they've lost 3 players as well, that depends on what classes they've lost. Generally speaking, across most situations, if you've lost both your demo and your sniper, you're not winning the fight. You need to get out.
Okay, cheers.
But that's, again, anything more specific than that is just way too many variables.
Cool.
Alright. Any more questions? You guys don't get better unless you ask questions.
How high is the jump limit on this map for a soldier? Like, do you bounce off against the
yeah,
rocks
that's solid. And then above that is solid too, so you can't go over the rocks. But apart from that, it's pretty high up.
Is there anywhere to sort of stop and hang out on, like, mid-ish area, high above? Is there a pixel you can stand on?
No, not on that. There was a tiny area I found by accident. It's like somewhere against this wall you can stand on it. There's a pixel, but it's very unreliable and it's very useless because then you're in the open and they just shoot you down anyway.
Okay.
Flair, a bit of a question on terms of scout loadouts. Do you prefer double bleed here, or would you recommend still running a pistol on this map?
Double bleed, personally. There's a lot of good double bleed angles here, so that's kind of the way I like to approach it. But like I've told you before, a pistol is never a bad option.
Okay, fair enough.
As medic, assuming that the sniper wasn't called out yet, it's like the beginning of round, everyone's just rolled out. Should you just like chill behind the fence on right side and just like play passive until your sniper gets picked or their sniper gets called out or something like that?
Yeah, but that's just basic medic stuff, not really necessarily for this map. Just don't peek unless you know where the sniper is.
Yeah.
Where would the spy often be patrolling? Again, yeah, I can't give you that answer. There's too many things they can do. You can't really be sure about where their spy is patrolling, but you can, as a team, you can do things that would make... I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this. You can force the spy's hand. You can force him to play around certain areas by positioning yourself a certain way. And that's basically what you should be looking to do. Rather than checking for the spy as he's patrolling this area, you just need to kind of lock down your holds and play consistently and tight so that the spy is only going to be a certain number of places, otherwise he can't accomplish anything. But that's a massive topic, and that requires more demo reviews than fucking map reviews. Like, you need to see how your own team plays. Are there consistent decloak spots? There's no such thing as a consistent decloak spot. They can decide to turn around for no goddamn reason.
But in general, the spy would be mainly going after the sniper, since they seem to have a strong presence on this map.
Yeah. Sniper, medic, demo, the usual key picks.
Yeah, I would imagine sniper more so, since some of their positions are far back.
Alright. Any more questions? We can move on to attacking pretty soon. Probably on the cave. There's no flank there. You don't want to decloak in your, for example. Okay, so just for clarity's sake, I'm gonna do this from the red side. So you don't want to decloak in your own cave and then try to jump on them, because that's just obvious. They're gonna see you fucking Ezio auditoriing it off the caves, and they're gonna be like, he's going for a jump stab, guys, and they just shoot you. But it is, like I mentioned in the mid fights earlier, it is common to just jump out here to cross mid as easily as you can. This is something a lot of spies will do. They'll just come back here and they'll sit, play comms, and then drop down here, decloak, around this corner and try to get a stab. They'll just come over here, literally play in this field, and then decloak when they think they see a distraction. They'll decloak in this bush because they think they're funny, but it does work sometimes. In garage is kind of the most common one I've seen, because a lot of players will back up when they're taking damage and they'll play a little too close to garage over here, and that's a spy can draw around this corner. But all these, again, none of these are consistent. It's really just turn around. That's the only thing you can really make sure of, is that you're turning around a lot. Any more questions?
Is there any value to playing crits on this?
The answer that I've always given to crits is only ever as good as the teams that take it. You need to know how to run crits, and then the players that you're running the crits with need to hit their shots. And if it works, it clearly really, really works. But again, it's inconsistent. It relies a lot on individual player skill rather than being able to hit the books and study it up. It's really, it's either going to work or it's not. So I never have a tactical answer for crits. It's just going to work or it isn't. And, you know, if you decide, fuck it, we're losing, nothing we're doing is trying, swap to crits, you might realize that your team's nutty with crits, and then it just keeps working forever. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Cheers.
And that's the same answer for every single map. Like, even on stopwatch, crits can just blow things wide open. So, yeah. Don't have a useful answer. Alright. One more question before we move on to attacking on this point. On this map. Anyone?
Who's supposed to be protecting when you're playing passive, or they have control of the point? Who's supposed to be watching for your waterfall, or your cave?
I mean, anyone who's generally playing here should be watching for it. You don't need to have someone actually staring at that, because you see how little you see of the rest of the game when you do this?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, you don't see shit, and you're not prepared. So if you generally kind of play further back over here, if you can afford to at least, like you're not huddling up against this because you're taking a shit ton of spam and you're doing this. This is kind of a, like I mentioned when I was talking about medic positioning, this is kind of a catch-22 anyway, regardless of the cave issue, because then you just can't kite easily. But the problem with this then is that once you're up here, anyone dropping out of the cave, even supposing you were staring at that and you saw them, they could still round the corner and just get on top of you quickly enough. So the easier thing to do for the most part is just play a little further back. And this just goes, again, to what I said about medic positioning. The further back you play, the safer you are. It's just, you can spot things a little better, you have a wider field of view, and you can actually kite, because you're closer.
Okay, cool.
Alright. Alright. Let's go over offense. Oh, I don't feel... Okay, so let me give a more immediately useful answer to that question, brother, because I gave kind of a vague, abstract, and analytical one, but as far as what you literally do, no, you don't have someone actually literally watching that. You guys just need to kind of, you know, be switching left to right and make sure you're checking that and make sure nothing's happening. If you see rockets coming out of there, then you know there's a soldier there. If you hear sniper shots coming out of there, there's a sniper there. End of story. Just then, if you see a mini there, just have your demo peek that and shoot a sticky. It's like... You know, don't think too hard about it. Just play normally and make sure you keep an eye out on it. All right. So, offense. The basic rule of attacking Cascade is you push from the same side the sniper is standing. So remember when I talked about the forward hold, whichever side the sniper is playing on, he's watching the other side. So he plays right side on point, that means he's watching left into your concrete. He's playing left, he's watching into your yard. So if you can get eyes on their sniper, you can get comms. This mostly falls down to your spy to call out what's going on with their hold. Then you know where to push out. So whichever side they're holding on is the side you push out of. So let's give a quick visual assessment. They're all sitting right side over here, and your spies called that out. So you guys are grouping up over concrete over here, and you're ready to push this out. All you need to do is, now that you know they're right there and their snipers over here, you can round the corner and pressure them out immediately. So the moment you see the sniper, because you're rounding this corner, you know he's there, you just shoot like 2 stickies, try not to get headshot obviously while you're doing it, push him out, and then you can try to slowly edge your way forward as a normal fight. But it literally depends on first knowing where their sniper is, and then pushing from the same side. Because you do not want to just walk directly into that sniper sideline. Same issue if you're coming out from the, from the left side. Just, call it out that you know their sniper's there. Just peek this, shoot him, force him back, and then you can come out. This is kind of the easier way to push out of, for the most part, because you're not going to have to deal with insane terrain like that. That's just weird and wacky, but... yeah.
What about attacking snipers trying to push out the same way? Because it's really close quarters. What do you do?
You don't. For attacking, for the most part, you should probably play the opposite side from your combo, and you should have your flank with you. So this, generally speaking, you can accomplish most of what you need to do by coming over to play high ground, whether that's bridge here or going to bats. Both of these are perfectly fine. But it's literally just you need to play with your flank, because you did make a good observation. Yeah, all the combo stuff, the combo push is going to be really close quarters. Sniper's not going to be having any of it. So either you're coming here bridge and you have your soldier and your scout literally sit on you so that you can just sit here in hard scope and try to get a pick inside, or you go over to bats over here and take the same thing. Just try to like slowly peek them and get them out of the way. But you need to have your flank guarding you. Caves, again, remember when I talked about the forward holds, caves is always a super strong place to play, no matter what. Whichever side they're playing, this is just a great place to sit on top of. So if you can have your flank, you can play with your flank here, like try to force them off into a stupid position, and then your flank can just walk all the way up in cave, and you can try to like just keep backing them up. This is good. This is nice. So I would recommend generally as a sniper, as a clear instruction, instead of going out with your combo on offense, you come out with your flank, you play closer to caves, and you try to like decide where you want to go from here. Whether that means you snipe from bridge, or you come over to bats, or you go help them out with caves first because they've got a flank there. And then after that you can come over in here and play from the cave sideline if that's what you choose to do. So that's what I'd recommend you do. All right.
Stays with combo, right?
Yeah, you're not rotating. You need to be with your combo.
So you want to push on the same side the sniper is aiming because he's going down the opposite end. But what about the demo man that was going to be putting down traps and spamming the other side? How are you supposed to really get around that?
That's just a straight DM fight. So you can clear stickies. So that's not that huge of a deal. If you see the stickies there, you can spend a bit of time just clearing them, or you can actively push them because you're just better than him. But either way, that literally just comes down to trading DM. So tank your own demo, walk at him, try to knock him away, threaten to kill him. There's no brain way around it. It's literally just kill the traps and then DM him away.
So nothing special about it. All right.
There's nothing special. And there's nothing special you can do. It's a demo. He's watching a choke. Yeah. So either you Uber through like a bitch, or you slowly work your way through it, and that's it. All right. So real quick. So just on that note. So this applies no matter which side you're pushing out of. You just need to take heals and then kind of, like slowly spam them out, pretty much like this. And you're just going to want to force them back, get them out of this forward hold, and then once they back off, then you come forward, and then you get into your settled positions, and voila, it's a mid-fight. So now you've come up here, you just need to try to push across as soon as you can, so you don't keep losing time. So you get up here, your players are all healed up, you're spamming across point, you know exactly what this is. This is product. There's nothing special to it once you get in that position. But yeah, as far as pushing and getting there goes, that's the special thing. Make sure you're calming where their sniper is, and your combo is pushing from the same side their sniper's pushing. And then you have your sniper play with flank during that opening section, and then you tank your demo out and you trade fights. And that is pretty much a bog standard formula that you can do to push out onto Cascade and get into a mid-fight position. Final thoughts on that pushing. Obviously, you do not push when you're at significant disad because they can just Uber their scout into you and chase you out, and you're not going to be able to do too much about it. So you do want to make sure that you're pushing at least on even or on your own ad. So if you're at 50 or more disad, you should go for a sack wave. This is the same thing with product, same thing with Asheville. It's just a cost standard. You sack if you can't do anything else because you have too much disad. So for a demo man, it's literally just a double sticky jump, and you just go right in, and you're in, and you sack. For a soldier, it's a little more complicated because there are no particularly good jumping angles here. So there's nothing really good. The best thing I can say is you should probably let your demo go first, and then once he's taking most of the heat, you can do this jump that's not great, but it's better than nothing. Let's come over here. God fucking damn it. I hate it so much too. You're just gonna want to like try to jump off that basically. It doesn't even get you that far, or at least maybe I just suck at it. Yeah, sure. But it's literally just that. You just jump here and then you... Fuck! Fucking hate this fucking... You get the idea. I don't know. I don't need to worry too much about demonstrating. Something like that. There we go. That's a lot better. That's the best you can do from a safe position to cover as much ground as you can. But if you're not confident with that because you feel like, oh, I can't do that, it's just inconsistent. Again, same thing. Let your demo go first. Let him take most of the heat. Come out here, and you can do it off this side of the wall, which is a lot more forgiving. So you come out here, and there. You also go a little further in because it's more forgiving, and you start from a further in position. But the reason you should let your demo go first in this scenario is, again, because if they're just watching this choke, they're not going to let you round this corner as a soldier and walk all the way up here to set your jump. So this is, just let someone else take the fall for you and bait the shit out of them. And it's one of the few situations I recommend baiting your team. Alright, that's pretty much about it. So, yeah, those are the basics of pushing. Yeah, any questions? We have 10 minutes left before people either want to leave for their 9:30s or whatever, so go ham. Ask anything you want.
Playing scout during a sack wave, what's your advice for that?
You're not doing anything. You can't sack with your team.
Okay.
So stay with your sniper, preferably, wherever he happens to be.
Gotcha.
Ask ye your questions.
Is that a general thing?
I have none.
Sticking with sniper or scout?
No, just for the offense over here, because you talked about sack wave. You're not going to be useful in the sack, so just keep playing with your sniper. But in a defense, you're playing with your soldier in their cave, like I mentioned, on forwards, or you're just playing generally with combo or your own flank or whatever, just wherever you can find your space. Yeah. And on mid fights, yeah, just play heals, wait, scream at your demo to kill the mini so that you can actually take fights. That's literally it.
Remind me where a sniper is mostly.
What? For in what situation? In what?
Just mid fights.
Bats, bridge, cave, bottom garage, bitch next to combo, sitting right here. That's kind of it, for the most part. I've seen some really cheeky snipers, and this is really uncommon, but I've seen some really cheeky snipers sit out on the outside of this fence here. It's really funny.
So in doing the mid fight on engineer, you want your mini sentry in more passive area, but does left or right depend more so, or would it just having it watching the ramp?
I would say a good just put it wherever your heavy isn't, so you have more coverage. So like, left side if your heavy's right, right if your heavy's left.
What's your favorite unusual effect?
Next question. We only have 5 minutes left. I want to make sure we get as many people in as we can.
Would heavy at any time go through that center cave at all, or is he
under?
just straight? No, not under. Where, yeah, the upper.
Directly across
the little
point.
Cave.
I mean, like just
No, to your left or right. Would heavy at all
play in cave? Oh.
Come at it, yeah, at all, or is?
We call that the waterfall strat. I didn't really talk about it because it's just. See, it's called waterfall because there's supposed to be a waterfall, but I think I like waterfall more because you think about the heavy water falling off of the cave, and it's just funny, but... Okay, that's just a slight detour. Anyway, there are some strats that have heavies come over here. It's fallen a lot more into disfavor, so that's kind of why I didn't cover it and didn't recommend it. It is a thing, but it is kind of a hard commit strat. Like, you need to just basically commit really quickly as a heavy. And that's the big problem with it. Either you commit and you drop down and you wipe their combo, or they spot you, they notice you, and then they spam this, and you're never going anywhere because you're a heavy, and you just can't cross that distance. And then now you're sitting here uselessly. There's a shit ton of rockets and splash damage coming your way, and you know it's just it's too hit or miss, and that's kind of why I didn't really cover it.
Sounds like a Hail Mary play.
Hmm. Can you stand on the edge on bats as a sniper? You mean like on this edge? Yes, you can. Is it any use? Not really, because you get the same sightline without standing out there in the open. You can kind of use this cover. Whereas if you sit out here, not really, you know? Good flank spots. Be a little more specific with that question. Where do you play as a soldier? Did you come in late? I felt like you came in late. Alright, yeah. Soldier. Soldier, mid-fights, you're either going caves. Caves is a safe option. Just sit up there, spam rockets down onto them during the mid-fight. And then you just jump in if you see your combos pushing. That's good and safe. Or you come through under here. You play with your heavy and you push through under as a submarine. You can just splash straight through the ramp, and it's really easy for a soldier. These are your two options in the mid-fight. On point. Sorry, when you guys are holding. Either you're holding on point, and your combo, like as in your combo's holding point, and then you are going to be playing with your scout in their cave, enemy cave up there, when your combo's holding aggressively on point. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to sit up there, you're just going to play with your scout, and you're both going to be like, oh, they're pushing here, because you don't want to let them come straight through cave. That's really it. Otherwise, if you guys are backed off, you're not holding aggressive, you guys are passive again, you can just revert back to playing cave or playing under. Just pick one. It's basically mid-fight. In terms of when you're attacking, your sniper is going to be coming out through the left side, or he should be anyway. And if your sniper is coming out through the left because he wants to come over and play from this angle, you should sit with your sniper and just kind of help protect him a little bit, because having your sniper get a good pick is key. Otherwise, if you don't have a sniper here, or he's already gotten the picks that you need, you just come over here, play aggressive in caves. It's really nice, really strong, all fun. Fun and smiles all around. Alright. Any more questions?
How do you think Cascade compares to other KOF maps?
I'd call it my favorite. I don't think it's the best out of them. I think the most well-designed is Asheville. But Cascade's my favorite just because the way... Remember when I talked about it, I think every class has a thing they can do. As opposed to... except for Medic. But you definitely have more options for every single class.
I need like some more information on heavy.
You play with your heals and you shoot the enemies. Yeah, I don't know. Ask a better question. I mean, if you want like a really thorough heavy rundown, you should like have it. You should play a game and have it looked over by someone who can teach you heavy. Like, just talk to a heavy mentor here, have them look over your gameplay. Chalk loves mentoring heavies. He can tell you what he thinks you did wrong, because a lot of that comes down to individual, like, tiny decisions that happen in the moment. Nothing I can teach you in a map review, because these things aren't, you know, it's too broad strokes. Like you heard people asking earlier, how do I know when to back out? It's like, that's way too broad a question. It really depends on the situation. And it's the same answer for heavy. There's a lot of things that really depend on the situation, and I cannot answer that question for you right now.
Okay.
Alright, well, it's 9:30. I could stay longer. I don't have anywhere to be, but most people are leaving, so if you guys, if no one's got any more questions, we can call it done.
Cheers, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty. With that, we're over. Go, frag on Cascade. We are ollie out.
Thank you.